Hello and welcome to Smitty's. I am a wood cutting fanatic who loves to run a chainsaw. I run alcohol chainsaws, ported chainsaws, I race chainsaws, and I even run the occasional vintage. Now remember, I cannot do this without you. You're everything to the channel, so please remember, subscribe, give that thumbs up, leave that comment. Today, we are going to have a lot of fun. So how you doing? Well, we're going to have an interesting video for you today. You see, I asked Levi, he's the middle-aged, or my middle one, the middle child. I asked him which saw he wants Daddy to run, and he pointed at it. He says, I want the yellow one. I want to see the yellow one. So that's what we're running today. But we're going to try to make the video a little more interesting than just running this saw. This saw is completely stock. It is a, well, I bet a lot of guys out there are thinking it's a McCulloch, and it's not. It is a Partner 5000 Plus. 49cc, I believe they are. Completely stock, and we're going to give it a run. She's set up with just a standard sharpening, what you would typically see on firewood and so forth. And, it's one of these videos that typically would not be so entertaining. But I decided, you know what, let's go ahead and spice the video up. We're going to compare it to a ported version. Well, as close to a ported version as I can deliver. So we got my Husqvarna. I put a Partner 5000 top end on it. We're going to compare the two saws. But the Partner 5000 one, the one that's ported, it is running a different chain setup and everything. So we're basically going to see a firewood version of a Partner 5000 Plus compared to a Husqvarna 50 that had the Partner 5000 top end put on it, ported, turned into a race saw. I mean, this is going to be square chain, roller nose bar. I mean, everything. This saw is dialed in. One of the issues I do find with that saw is every single time I start it, it needs tuned. Every time. Sometimes I've made some videos that I did not tune it and it did not run to its fullest performance, and that's because I did not tune it. And that's because every time I start it, it needs tuned. But here's the thing. It's always running rich. Every time I run it, it's running rich. Like every time I start it. So that is quite possibly a sign of just the engine seating in and getting better. The rings are seating better and things like that. That's typically the reason for that. Part of it could be the weather. The weather has been changing. We're actually in that time of the year now. We're going back to the summer months. So, the weather has a factor in it too. But it is what it is. Now, there's a lot of people who like these saws. So it's basically a Partner 5000. They poured up very well. You can really get some really great speed out of these saws. But there's different ways. So the Johnson Red 490, the Partner 5000 are pretty much the same saw. There's a pull-in. I'm not that familiar with pull-in as well, but there's a pull-in version. I think TW has one, or it's at least close to the Partner 5000. What else? But yeah, well, basically there's several versions. And I was told that in the racing days, back in the day, the folks like to stick the Partner 5000 on the top end on the Husqvarna. So that's the method I went with. Most people just get the saw, the Partner 5000, the Johnson Red 490 or whatever, and build that saw. I decided to do like a duplication of what you would see back in those racing days, in which they used the Husqvarna 50 bottom end and threw the Partner 5000 top end on it. I do not know if that makes a difference in the performance. It's possible. It's possible there's no difference. I have had both saws tore down, and there are differences, but they are small, very small. I mean, you would think that both saws are basically a copy of each other. They're that close. But there are differences. Now, things like the Partner 5000 is a closed port cylinder setup on it, where the Husqvarna 50 is an open port. So it makes you wonder, is there differences in like the crankcase volume and things like that that possibly makes the Husqvarna 50 a better platform to build a race saw out of? It's the one that was the most popular, or at least I was told is the most popular. So, you know, you never know. It could be nothing. It could literally mean nothing. It could actually be the other way around. The Partner 5000 platform could actually be the better one of them. So, yeah, you never know. But there are differences and different versions. So, anyway, what do you say we get on with this? We're going to make some cuts with this Partner 5000 Plus. Then we're going to go over here and we're going to make a couple of cuts for we're going to do like a timed cut. Basically, we'll put footage of the two saws next to each other cutting, and then we will do timed so we can see the times in the two and everything. We'll kind of get a good idea. But the Partner 5000 is set up for firewood work because that's what it is. And the 50 with the 5000 top end is set up for racing, and that's kind of a comparison we're going to get. Now I got a couple logs here. We're going to whittle around on these couple of logs, try to get a good tune, and then we're going to go over here and make some cuts. And we're going to do this same thing for both saws. So, alrighty, check it out. For chips on 325 chain, this poplar is starting to dry out good, so it ain't as perfect. Don't cut as big of a chip anymore, but you know, that's what kind of chip we're getting on this one. We'll see what kind of chip we're getting on the other saw, because it's a square chain, so we'll compare that too. All right, it's time for this Husqvarna 50 square chain, roll nose bar, mod for mod, velocity stack, 372 carburetor, ported, ton of machine work, finger ports. I mean, there's been a lot done to it. In fact, the only thing I never did, I've never done a timing advance on this saw. I keep saying I'm gonna do that next, or we'll do that at the end. And to be honest, I think I've made up my mind. I'm not gonna do a timing advance. I like the way it runs. And so I don't think I'm going to do a timing advance, at least not for a while. I'm going to leave it like this. It could pick up. I could gain a couple of hundred RPM on a timing advance. I don't know. Maybe we'll save that for another day. But for now, I have no intention of advancing the timing. I'm going to leave it as is. And I've actually studied up on that a bit. There's a guy making videos right now on timing advances, and he's comparing it to different types of oil. And so what he's doing is, so basically he has one of those little bicycles with a motor on them, and he's got a dyno hooked up to his motorcycle, and he's taking his motorcycle out for test runs on different grades, from flat to different grades of hill, and he's testing different oils and timing advances. So he has it set up to adjust the timing advance on the fly pretty easily, but he's finding that some oils do better on timing advances than others. And the reason I'm deciding not to do it right now is because he's testing, our Caster 927. So he's testing Caster 927 in the mix, and he's finding that the Caster doesn't like as much of a timing advance as a lot of other oils. In fact, he's finding that Caster actually produces the most power with the least amount of timing advance. Now, I'm running Klotz Super Technic Plate, which is very similar. So maybe that's the reason why I don't feel like I need to advance the timing as much, because this gentleman has been finding that the oil that you run kind of affects your timing advance. So if you're watching people do timing advances on their saws, you might be seeing that one guy gets more of a timing advance than another and stuff like that. There's a chance it's the oil that's causing that. This gentleman is finding that the oil is definitely part of the equation, and I'm going to leave mine as is. But anyway, let's get on with this. Let's get this saw tuned up, get these test cuts in, and let's see what this saw can do. And then we'll compare them, the whole 9 yards, time them, everything. So, alrighty. Well, the chips are definitely better, but I can tell you something's not right with that chain. I can just tell, I can feel it. So she's definitely not cutting at its full performance. So we'll figure that out. I didn't do a Raker adjustment, so she was a new chain and I didn't do a Raker adjustment. That might be all that it needs, because I'm having to push a little more than I should. So yeah, but we're gonna have kind of a general idea. But maybe I should just go ahead, do a Raker adjustment, just to make sure. Let's do that right now. All right, so we're back. I went over all the Rakers. Some of them are off. We'll see how she does this time. But you see, I'm still learning this hand filing thing. And if you were looking at the tooth on the back side, like where it's easy to see the C shape normally, so I kind of pulled it out closer to a straight up and down, and I got a feeling this saw just doesn't like that. I might need to make a change to that angle to make the chain hungrier. So, we were hoping for a great video, but my chain kind of gave us a little bit of a flop here. We'll see how she does with this though. We got a Raker adjustment, so it'll be better. Should hopefully be better this time. But only a couple of them. I'd say half of the Rakers needed something taken off of them. The rest of them didn't get anything. So I'm not expecting a huge difference here. We'll see what happens. So maybe a little bit of a difference there with that Raker adjustment, but definitely not what I'm looking for. I'll have to resharpen that chain. This is one of the great things about learning something new. You know what I mean? We're learning hand filing this square chain, and sometimes you don't nail her. This is only about my 5th chain I've ever hand filed, so we're getting there though. It's better than my first one, and now we gotta kind of practice. That's what she's all about. So there we go. A little bit of a video for you comparing two saws, stock form versus portered form. And I apologize because my sharpening, you know, my skills just aren't quite up to par yet on that square. It is what it is. It'll get better in time as I figure things out. You know what I mean? This is only like the 6th chain, I think, that I've done on square filing. So we're getting there. It's definitely way better than my first one, I can tell you that. It's smoother for certain. But we'll get there. I think a tiny tweak will give me what I want. It's the self-feeding part of it. It's the self-feed of the chain is what I'm not liking. I prefer it to pull itself through the wood a little bit better than this. And, you know, it is what it is. I actually think I could go with a deeper raker. This is a 25,000th raker. You could probably take a deeper one. So we'll see. We'll make an adjustment here with the sharpening. Try to give it a little more self-feed and move on from there. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little one, and we'll catch you in the next one. Later.